So it is now after Christmas, and yes, I realize I have not made a video in 5 games. I'm sorry. I've been really busy. You know, the holiday season, it was really hectic. I was getting ready, getting gifts and packing gifts and buying some last minute things, and then it was Christmas, and then it was Boxing Day, and I've been at the World Juniors, because woo, Canada, Toronto, World Juniors, yes, and I was doing shopping, and anyways, it's just been crazy. But the Penguins have played 5 games since I last made a video. Yes, 5 games, and they have won one of them. That was against Florida, where they scored 3 goals in like the final period and ended up winning 3-1. And there was crazy things going everywhere. That was on Saturday. Willie Mitchell hit Chris's hand with his helmet because he's classless idiots. And then Dave Bolland slashes Crosby. He hurts his hand. Crosby comes back later and almost scores. I don't need you, Dave Bolland. You're a piece of shit. Then they lose the next game in a shootout to Florida. Letang scored the only goal that game. He scored the only goal in the shootout and scored 2 goals during the game. Bam! Could have gone 10 seconds left to get them back in the game to tie it. Actually, it might have been against Columbus, but I think he did score in the shootout, or maybe he didn't. Anyways, I don't know. But Letang Ring is having a fantastic season. More Penguins get the mumps. Grice, who initially tested negative, tested positive. Jasakov gets sent down, gets called up again. The Penguins play back-to-back games. He goes in for Fleury, and the Penguins... the last game before the break, they were down 4-0. Again, Letang makes it 4-3 at the very end, which I thought was great. It showed resiliency. It showed that they cared, and the Penguins of old would not have done that. They would have folded, and it would have gotten much worse, 5-0, 6-0. But these Penguins, they fought back, and they fought back against a very good Tampa team, against a makeshift roster made up of mostly rookies, and I thought that was fantastic. This just shows that there's little faith in Jeff Zadkov, however, because they played Fleury back-to-back games, which is never a good idea. If you look at stats, it shows that the goalie never does well in the second half of back-to-backs. I did not like that at all, but I thought that they battled back, they battled hard, and that was nice to see. And Letang again, proving that he is a Norris Trophy caliber defenseman. I'm just going to keep calling him Letang because I think that's a fantastic nickname. Anyways, he had another huge game. Penguins rookie D's really stepped it up. Pouliot gets his first goal and his first shot in his first ever NHL game against Florida. He's really looking like something, and he's looking more and more untouchable by the day. And they got... everyone's hurt. They got the mumps, Steve Downey, Thomas Grice. They all have the mumps. Jeff Zadkov was called back down, sent back up. Now he's called back down. And just a mismatch of players. Bo Bennett's almost recovering. Oli Mata probably won't need soldier surgery, which is a good news. But who knows how good he'll be after that. So because we don't know how good he's going to be after the surgery, I would hang on to Harrington and... Pouliot. I think that Pouliot's looked really good. He still has some warts in his own end, but that will come with time. I mean, he's still young. I mean, how long did it take for Letang, for Letang to finally clear up his warts, for people to realize, he's actually pretty good defensively if he's put in the right situation. And Mike Johnston knows Pouliot as he coached him in Portland, so I think that that's going to be something that's really going to be beneficial to both parties. The more I see him and Harrington, and to a lesser extent Dumoulin play, the more willing I am to let Ehrhoff go, because yes, as great as he's been, those guys are the future, and Dupre's having a phenomenal breakout season. I didn't really think he's a top 4 D-man before the season started, but he's playing more and more like a top 4 D-man. He's done an admirable job, an amazing job in Paul Martin's absence, Christian Ehrhoff's absence. Robert Butuzzo's hurt. Now he came back, and Simon Dupre's really established himself in the top 4, and he's playing the second most minutes after anyone on the team after Kris Letang, which is a big deal. Derek Pouliot's also really stepped up, and Harrington has a very quiet game, but he's very solid. He can chip in some offense as well. I saw him in the World Junior Championships, the 2 years he played for Canada, and I was really, really impressed by him, as I was with Pouliot. And Dumoulin, I think, probably has a lower ceiling than the two of them. I think if you're going to trade a defenseman, you would trade him. He's already been traded once, which would suck for him. But just because I don't think that there's much that you can... I would want to hang on to Harrington and Pouliot. But at the same time, they can get you more. But I definitely would not trade Pouliot. I would either trade Harrington or Dumoulin if I'm going to trade one. But I'd rather trade Dumoulin, just because I think Harrington is a nice, steady presence. But he can also chip in some offense if needed. And Pouliot, if you have Pouliot, Letang, and Dupre, on your back end, you're going to be so set for offense. Like, Letang's on a pace for career high season in goals and in points. He's playing fantastic again. He did get hurt against Washington, but luckily came back, was very solid, played 29 minutes in their loss, and now we've lost 4 in a row, and I was panicking, because we lost to New Jersey. New Jersey's terrible, and even though they have a 3-headed monster of coaching, I was like, what is going on? Crosby scored a beautiful goal. He's back to form. He never sucked. He was on a slump. But you know what? This team has a laundry list of injuries right now. We have Bo Bennett out. We have Dupuis out. Kunitz has not been good all year. He just came back. We have Como out now long term. Who knows when Bennett will be back. We have Hornquist out long term. We have Bertuzzo just came back, and I don't think he's that great anyway. We have Craig Adams out. LOL. We have Zach Sill out. LOL. We have Paul Martin out long term. We have Christian Ehrhoff out long term. Like, that's 10 significant players. We had Steve Downey out. We had Sutter, who's tested for mumps. We had Grice, who's tested for mumps. Crosby had mumps. Oli Mata, Bo Bennett. Like, this team has no luck when it comes to injuries. And yes, we've lost 4 in a row. And I can't remember since I've been a fan, which has been since 2005, maybe the first year, the Penguins ever having a slump like this. And I'm sure older fans would remember this feeling. I don't remember this feeling. I get this feeling with the Leafs. I don't want it with the Penguins as well, okay? This is supposed to be my team that gives me less heart attacks, except for the playoffs, and I can count on them to be consistent, and they just haven't, maybe it's due to injuries. It's probably a mixture of injuries, and maybe guys are still a little sluggish from the break. I don't know what it is, but even with our makeshift roster, New Jersey's still a team we should be beating. They're one of the worst teams in the league. There's no excuse for us losing to a team like that. Flower was not up to par last night. Crosby scored a beautiful goal. The defense were pretty solid, but a lot of the guys I didn't really show up. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of the game, to be honest, because I was at the World Juniors. But from what I saw, I was not very impressed. I would expect a much better effort tomorrow night against Carolina when Jordan Staal comes back to town, makes his return. It looked like he got hurt, but he's now fine and is ready to play again. So that's always going to be a fun game, seeing Jordan Staal, because he was one of my favorites of mine when he was in Carolina. And when he was in Pittsburgh, sorry. And, yeah. And that'll be interesting to see. But the Penguins are going to need to do something. Jimmy is going to have to trade for Summer. They're just going to have to get healthy, because every year it takes a toll. And people always nag on Crosby and Malkin. Why aren't they producing? Well, Crosby's had a mishmash of wingers on his line all year. He likes consistency. When he was so productive, he played with Dupuis and Kunitz the whole time, and that's why he was so good. He played with the same guys. Malkin's also has a rotating cast of wingers, and he's having a great season. But again, he can't produce every night. So to ask them to produce every night with what players they've been playing with is a little bit too much. Crosby playing with an AHL, or Malkin's playing with, I don't even know, an AHL, and Jason Magna, and while Rust and Magna are nice players, and they'll probably be great players for the Penguins, they're more bottom 6 guys. They're not top 6 forwards. And the injuries are now really taking its toll in Pittsburgh again, and it's getting to be a big problem. So I would look for Jimmy R to make a trade at some point, because we need some top 6 wingers. And Kasper Kapanen is still quite a ways away. I mean, I've seen him at the World Juniors. I've seen him play some games. I watched him play a little bit against Canada last night and against the U.S., and I haven't really been that impressed. He shows a lot of speed, and he has a lot of natural skill, but his game is still not fully where it needs to be. Like, his puck sense is not always the smartest, and his awareness is not the best. He's still very, very raw. He's very much a raw prospect, and I think he's probably a couple years away. He hasn't really done much. I've been a little bit disappointed. Anyways, so that's all for this video. Please like if you like this video. Subscribe if you really like it. Share with all your friends. Tell everybody. I hope you all had a good Christmas. Hope Santa was good too. He was good to me. I got a new phone, which is nice to actually see my screen. It's not broken anymore. Have a very happy New Year, and I'll see you after the game tomorrow. Or, yeah, New Year's Eve against Carolina. All right, bye for now. Let's go Penguins, and let's not make this 5. Please, please, for my Santa.